Today I can earn an extra 80 yuan in overtime pay, and thinking of this, I can't help but smile. I took out my phone and looked at the bright smile of Xiaoying on the screensaver, feeling sweet inside. As long as I can make my wife happy, what does it matter how hard or tiring it is? Chapter 1, Husband, give me some money again. When I collapsed onto the bed, my body, which had been busy all day, finally relaxed. Recently, Xiaoying has been quite busy with her studies, and she always replies to my messages late, but this waiting process is also sweet. As if we have a telepathic connection, my phone started vibrating, and I heard Angela Zhong's inspiring song, whose soul fragments fill the desolate room, invisible yet sharper than thorns, reality hunts dreams. There are wounds but no blood flows. How to endure the silent night, escaping with no exit, who dares to admit mistakes? Only the brave can truly be free. It's Xiaoying's call. I excitedly picked up the phone and pressed the answer button. Hello, Xiaoying. But there was no response from the other end. Xiaoying, what's wrong with you? I couldn't help but feel anxious. Honey, are you busy right now? No, I'm in bed, just got off work. Honey, have you received your salary this month? Can you send me some money again? Xiaoying, what's wrong? Are you sick? You need to take care of yourself at school. Is 3,000 enough for this month? If not, I'll send you another 1,000 next week. Buy whatever you want to eat, just don't make yourself suffer. Okay, thank you, honey, moi. After hanging up Xiaoying's call, my previously relaxed brow furrowed again. Thinking about her calling me for money so late made me feel heartbroken. What difficulties is Xiaoying facing? I've already decided that I must go to the school to see her next week, and give her a surprise. In the past 2 years, Xiaoying's tuition, living expenses, and various daily expenses require me to send her 5,000 every month. Besides meals, I can only keep 200 for myself each month. If I go to see her next week, I also need to buy her a gift, and this amount is clearly not enough. I've decided to work overtime every day starting tomorrow to earn more money. If it really doesn't work, I'll borrow some from my co-workers, and then take Xiaoying out for a big meal. It's getting cold, and I also need to buy her a down jacket. As a man, it's okay for me to suffer a little, but I can't let my wife suffer along with me. Just hold on for another 2 years, and once Xiaoying graduates from her undergraduate studies, we can be together every day and no longer have to endure the pain of being apart. With beautiful hopes for the future, I fell asleep with a smile on my lips. Chapter 2, Riding for Love for 3 days and 3 nights. After a week of overtime, I can only sleep a few hours each day. My once round face has slimmed down significantly. Xiaoying must be very worried to see me like this. I checked the high-speed train tickets, and it costs over 200 yuan to go to Antai, which is enough for my living expenses for a month. I decided not to take the train and ride my bike instead. It saves money and keeps me fit. Before I left, I changed into the only new piece of clothing I bought this year, a round-neck casual sweater I got for 59 yuan during a group purchase. I found a shared bike on the street next to the factory area, and rode off wearing my slip-on shoes. The autumn sky is exceptionally high, and the trees along the road are shedding yellow leaves, creating layers of golden fragments on the ground that can't be swept clean. I feel like a happy little bird, pedaling my bike along the road of love. These years of overtime have transformed me from a bespectacled, frail scholar into a mentally resilient strong man. During the day, I set off at 7 a.m., buy a cup of instant noodles at a small supermarket for lunch, and curl up in a bridge hole under the overpass for the night. Speaking of which, I haven't traveled far in a long time. The pandemic has left the entire tourism industry in shambles. The last time I went out was for an outdoor shoot with Xiaoying for our wedding photos. This bike trip has given me a different kind of joy. I have seen the burning sunset, the rushing rivers, the splendid blooming of chrysanthemums, and the tragic falling of yellow leaves. I have a strong urge to take Xiaoying on a spontaneous trip in this magnificent world. But Xiaoying has her studies to attend to, and I have my overtime to work. In middle school, I read a saying, in the end, we become the person we hate. At that time, I just laughed it off. Now, looking back, sigh, I have also become the person I despise. Every day, I rigidly follow a 9-to-5 routine, like a machine, tireless and unaware of what day it is, only knowing the date. I scroll through short videos and see various tutorials, bookmarking them without ever starting to exercise. The world is so vast, and I want to see it, but it remains just a dream. The stars and the sea in my eyes have turned into the mundane chores of life. I hope that after wandering for half my life, I can return still youthful. Unfortunately, I haven't even traveled a few miles, and my mindset is no longer young. No one willingly accepts mediocrity. Everyone hopes for a spectacular life, but each of our lives is likely just an ordinary road. Time flows like water, always silent, wanting to go out, but faced with various overtime, car loans and mortgages. The mountains are high and the roads are long. In college, I visited Mount Tai, Mount Huang, and Wui Mountain, but in the end, I am crushed by the 3 mountains of reality, unable to move. Behind me, there are countless young people, aiming for the stars and the sea, with infinite dreams in their eyes, but in the end, they wander in place like me, letting out a long sigh. But in the end, we are still unable to find peace. However, thinking of Xiaoying, my heart is filled with infinite tenderness, like a summer lotus pond blooming with one white lotus after another. At night, when I ride on the road, racing for love, I always receive Xiaoying's intermittent calls. Listening to her breathless voice while running fills me with strength. Xiaoying, wait for me. How lonely you must be at school without my company. Thinking of you running late at night, I feel like a truly unqualified husband. I must work harder to give you a better life. Chapter 3, Charging Forward for Love, 1 against 5. The third night has passed, and I finally arrived at Dongxing Fashion Vocational College. Looking at the solemn university gate, all the fatigue of the past few days vanished. Along the way, besides buying instant noodles and mineral water, I only spent 36 yuan. When I was holding a bouquet of roses and wanted to go in to see Xiaoying, I was stopped by the security guard at the entrance. Due to pandemic prevention measures, Dongxing Fashion Vocational College has been closed for a month. My Xiaoying is like a bird in a cage, suffering in agony. She can't go anywhere except for running at night. I traveled such a long way, how could I be stopped by this gate? Taking advantage of the security guard's inattention, I found a section of the fence with no one around and climbed over. Due to the fatigue of the past few days, I lost my balance on the sharp railing, my sweater got snagged and torn, one shoe fell outside the fence. And a few petals of the roses in my arms were also torn off. But my heart was burning with excitement, because I was about to see my Xiaoying. I dialed Xiaoying's number on my phone. Hello, wife, are you in class? I don't have class this morning, I'm sleeping in the dormitory. Husband, I miss you so much. Wife, I miss you too. I'm at the school now, right under your dormitory. Ah, husband, why are you here? Xiaoying's voice suddenly became sharp. Isn't the school closed? How did you get in? I laughed happily. Xiaoying knew I was here, and her voice changed with excitement. She must be very surprised. I climbed over the wall to get in. Hurry down. The phone hung up with a beep. After waiting for 10 minutes, Xiaoying still hadn't come down. She was probably putting on makeup. This girl, we've been together for so long, does she really need to be so careful? Even if she came down in her pajamas, what difference would it make? Half an hour passed, and Xiaoying still hadn't come down. I called her, and the message said, "The number you have dialed is temporarily unavailable, please try again later." What is going on? I felt a bit anxious inside. Xiaoying, hurry down. It's Chen Sihan. The windows of the girls' dormitory opened one after another, and many girls leaned out to look down. But I still couldn't see my Xiaoying. At that moment, a few boys suddenly walked out of the boys' dormitory, coming towards me from a distance. The leader was tall and wearing a basketball uniform, looking quite handsome. Boys like him could attract a group of love-struck girls with just a few moves on the basketball court. I was no different back in school. Hey, it's early in the morning, why are you yelling? We want to sleep. You're not even from our school, how did you get in here? Get lost. Exactly, yelling early in the morning under the girls' dormitory. This is a university. Not a place for a worker like you. If you don't leave, we're going to call security. Look at you, you look so pathetic, you can't even afford shoes. Are you here to beg at our university? Ha ha ha. I felt a surge of blood rush to my head, and clenched my teeth tightly. For the sake of Xiaoying, I didn't want to cause trouble, and besides, shouting early in the morning in the dormitory building was indeed my fault. Sorry, I'm here to find my wife. I was a bit loud just now and woke you up. Who is your wife? The tall guy leading the group asked me. Wang Xiaoying, she lives in this dormitory building. What? Wang Xiaoying is your wife? Isn't she Yu Zhe's girl? Uge is her husband, what are you? A sleazy guy shouted exaggeratedly from the side. Please show some respect. If you insult my wife again, don't blame me for being rude. Oh, I'm so scared that you alone will fight all 5 of us. Uge sleeps with your wife every day, surprise. Surprise, ha ha ha. Fuck you. I could no longer hold back and threw a punch. You can insult me, but if you insult my wife, even if the King of Heaven comes, I will still fight back. The sleazy guy thought that with their 5-person team, I definitely wouldn't dare to make a move, but he didn't know that a man would charge forward without hesitation to protect his loved one, even if it meant facing a mountain of knives or a sea of fire. I landed a punch right on the sleazy guy's nose, and 2 red worms crawled out from his nostrils. The sleazy guy touched his nose and let out a heart-wrenching scream, like a little white rabbit being ravaged by a vicious wolf. Ah. Blood. He made me bleed, brothers, help me beat him up. With a whistle from you, several people surrounded me. I realized it was bad, and immediately threw a punch at the pervert's left eye. That's what you get for being a smartass. I won't let you off easy. The pervert's left eye instantly turned black and blue, and he let out a heart-wrenching scream. What a coward. After all, you was a basketball player, more agile than the others, and he hit me hard in the chest, making it hard for me to catch my breath. I immediately retaliated with a left hook to his right cheek, which quickly swelled up. Damn it. You hugged me tightly, hit him hard for me. This guy actually dared to hit me. I hadn't eaten well these past few days, and my body felt weak. For a moment, I couldn't break free and was hit hard by the other 4 guys, feeling pain on my face and body. You leaned in close to my ear and said, Kid, do you think Xiao Jiang is trying to provoke you? Actually, what he said is true. Every time Wang Xiaoying calls you, I feel particularly good. Last night, she was in my bed, so she can't get up today. Even if I were foolish. I knew at that moment that he was telling the truth. I thought Xiaoying was out running, but in reality, she was in someone else's bed. How ridiculous that I believed her so much, selflessly giving for her. Why has she turned into this? Why did she betray me? My face hurt, my body hurt, but my heart hurt even more. Chapter 4. I was taken away by the police. Bang. Another punch hit my face, and a salty, fishy taste surged up in my mouth. Hey, 5 against 1, do you still have any shame? I don't know which girl couldn't stand it anymore and shouted from the window. This shout brought me back to my senses. For these scumbags, only a heavy punch is the best retaliation. No matter how much it hurts inside, I must fight like a man. I leaned my head back and slammed it hard into Yu's face. Yu let out a painful cry, covering his face and releasing me. The training I had in the workshop over the past few years had already forged me into a strong man. With my burning rage, my fighting power was fully unleashed. I spun around and kneed Yu down to the ground, then threw a left hook that left a buzzcut guy dazed. The perverted man was already scared of me. Seeing me suddenly explode with power, he hurriedly retreated, but in doing so, he blocked the other 2 lackeys. Seeing the opportunity, I hooked the first lackey and tripped him, throwing him to the ground. The second lackey, seeing the situation turn from 5 vs 1 to a 1 vs 1 duel, panicked. But I had no intention of being polite. I smashed my right fist into his forehead, making him cry and weep. The perverted man was so scared that he screamed and ran towards the school security office, his legs flailing as if even Su Bingqian would have to concede defeat. I couldn't be bothered to deal with such a coward. I looked up at the girls' dormitory building and shouted, "Wang Xiaoying, come down. Today we need to clear things up. Why did you betray me? Why did you treat me like this?" The girls all came down to watch, but in the crowd, I couldn't find Wang Xiaoying's figure. Yu, fearing immediate consequences, secretly took out his phone and dialed 110, then continued to lie on the ground pretending to be dead and groaning. Soon, several security guards arrived with batons, and the perverted man hid behind them, pointing and gesturing at me. I explained that I had come to confront Wang Xiaoying, but the security guards clearly favored the students of our school and wanted to forcibly detain me. A wise man does not suffer losses in front of him in someone's home ground. I clearly cannot gain an advantage. I pushed past a few security guards and hurried towards the school gate. The onlooking students were discussing among themselves, having learned the ins and outs of the situation. Many looked at me with sympathy, even though the security guard shouted from behind for the students to stop me. Not a single person reached out. Except for that pair of scoundrels, Wang Xiaoying and her boyfriend, most students could still distinguish right from wrong. Just as I stepped out of the school gate, regaining my freedom, a police car blocked my way. 2 police officers got out and took me to the police car. Looking at the speeding scenery outside the window, I silently smiled bitterly. After 3 days and nights of cycling for love, this was the outcome I got. Marriage, what exactly does it bring to a man? Chapter 5, Charging Forward for Love, Yet Losing to Love. Upon arriving at the police station, a middle-aged officer pressed me down to sit, and called a female officer from the partition to take my statement. So, what happened? With the pandemic prevention and control in the entire district, you, on the other hand, climbed over the wall to break into the school and assaulted 5 students. TSK, I didn't expect you to be quite the fighter. What do you do? Do you have any prior records? Be honest. I hesitated, unsure of how to start. The female officer interjected, her voice very gentle. "Old Zhong, how can you label someone without asking for the reason? But young man, your behavior today is indeed wrong. Please tell us what happened." I looked up at the female officer across from me. She had almond-shaped eyes and a heart-shaped face, with shoulder-length short hair and a friendly smile, making her exceptionally beautiful. I suddenly felt my face flush and lowered my head, not daring to look at her. Old Zhong burst into laughter. "What's wrong? Are you shy seeing a beautiful woman? Where's that fierce spirit you had in school?" Seeing the female officer's kind attitude, and feeling quite troubled, I really wanted to find someone to confide in, so I recounted the whole story. Old Zhong initially thought I was a social delinquent and treated me with a hint of mockery, but as I narrated, he slammed his hand on the table in anger. "What kind of bullshit university is this, producing such bullshit students? It's disgusting. How can there be such shameless women?" Although the female police officer did not show her emotions as openly as Old Zhong, it was clear that she felt deeply unfair about my situation. Old Zhong took out a cigarette and asked if I wanted one. I shook my head to decline. He took a couple of deep puffs and shot the smoke out of his mouth like an arrow. "The most disgusting one is that bastard with the surname Yu, who called the police saying that Xiao Chen. You climbed over the wall to cause trouble at school and even injured a few students who were trying to help. When I heard this, I was furious and wanted to arrest you and give you a beating. Who knew that this bastard was just a thief calling to catch a thief? He couldn't handle 5 against 1 and still had the nerve to call the police. What a joke. Ding dong. The female police officer's phone on the table popped up a news alert. She picked it up and looked. "Oh, Xiao Chen, your story is on Tencent News. Dongshan Vocational College. A warrior rides for 3 days and nights, charging for love against 5 enemies, but loses to love. Old John laughed when he heard this. The speed of the news is really TM fast, but Xiao Chen probably doesn't want to become famous because of this nonsense. Right now, don't think about anything, just cooperate and stay here for a few days to calm down. Consider it a way to give the school an explanation. Look forward. It's not a big deal. A good man like you will definitely meet a woman worth loving. Thus, although this incident continued to ferment and once topped the news charts, I was in the detention center reflecting on myself. All the police officers who knew about this stood up for me and tried to make things easier for me. The others in the detention center heard about my situation and treated me like a hero, giving me the best of everything. My days in the detention center were surprisingly more comfortable than outside. Back then, I was reluctant to eat or wear anything nice, sacrificing for love. Now that I think about it, what's the difference from being a fool? Just thinking of the name Wang Xiaoying feels like a thorn constantly stabbing at my heart. When I was about to graduate from university, I met Wang Xiaoying on WeChat. At that time, she was still in vocational school. Because it was my first love, I would have given her my heart. Wang Xiaoying said, "Boys become bad when they have money," and asked me to give her my money for safekeeping. I not only gave her all the living expenses my parents provided, but also delivered takeout and did errands to earn money, just to meet her demands. After graduation, we got our marriage certificate, but at that time, Wang Xiaoying wanted to upgrade her education by pursuing a bachelor's degree. To support her, I gave up my easy office job, just because the salary in the workshop was higher. To pay for her studies, I only kept 200 yuan for myself each month, handing over the rest. However, every time I wanted to visit her, I was always brushed off with the excuse of "it's not good for you." I thought she was studying hard at school, but in reality, she was being intimate with other men. Thinking about the betrayal that came from my heartfelt dedication over the years, my heart aches. I, who originally did not smoke, took deep puffs of smoke while coughing and shedding tears. The others, knowing my pain, kept their distance, leaving me a quiet space. Chapter 6. How can I withstand this? You never know how thick a person's skin can be, and you also never know how bottomless her group can be. As the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. After this incident was reported by the media, Wang Xiaoying's followers on Douyin skyrocketed to over 1 million overnight, and there were many female supporters on Sina Weibo coming to her defense. Wang Xiaoying's statement afterwards won her a lot of likes from fans. Hello everyone. I am Wang Xiaoying from Dongxing Vocational College of Clothing. First of all, I want to say sorry for letting this small matter flood the internet and occupy everyone's public resources. Secondly, I want to apologize to the few male classmates with whom I had emotional relationships. It was my failure to clarify the relationship between men and women that brought you negative impacts. I also apologize to the school, including the teachers and classmates, for bringing a lot of negative effects to the school. But ultimately, this matter is a personal emotional issue of mine. I didn't expect it to become so widely known. I have already communicated privately with my ex-husband, and I can consider any requests he makes. I want to put an end to this incident. Without going through the Civil Affairs Bureau, I became an ex-husband. Surprisingly, she felt guilty not towards me, but towards those boys. I really have no words. And the female supporters on Weibo completely shattered my worldview. Ngui, the female lead, has already upgraded her education, while the male lead is still aimlessly drifting. She has the right to pursue a better life, so I stand with the girl in this situation. I hope everyone does not ruin a hard-working girl who has dedicated herself for love. After all, there is no future to be seen in the boy, and as a woman, I understand this girl. Orange happy. Putting aside the facts, does that mean the man is not at fault? So what if they are married? Love is not a constraint, but companionship. If he cannot be there for me when I need him, can't I find someone who can be by my side at all times? Can't I seek a support that belongs to me? Musilisai, yes, you gave her money, but who was by her side encouraging each other and making progress together for those 10 months that led to her current educational upgrade. When she was overwhelmed by textbooks, who handed her a cup of soothing coffee. Emotions are not a business even if they were. This amount of money cannot buy a girl's entire life. Whether the marriage is made or broken, the right person is not afraid of coming late. Minomi, to be honest, the guy is a bit of a waste of her time. Minomi, this guy is really crazy. If he wasn't being protected at school, I would be really afraid that the girl might end up dead without knowing why. Minomi. This kind of potential domestic abuser, ladies, beware. Looking at the comments on Weibo, I almost got internal injuries from the blows. Each punch has 20 years of power behind it. How can I withstand that? Later, when I found out that Wang Xiaoying had dated multiple people at school, I was already numb. My heart feels like dead wood, which is probably my current state. Chapter 7. A girl more beautiful than the movie stars on TV. 7 days later, old Zhong came to pick me up. Xiao Chen, go out and work hard. In the future, keep your eyes open and don't let yourself be fooled by this kind of person again. Today she ignores you, and tomorrow you'll be out of her league. I glanced around and asked, is Sister Lu not here? Don't worry about Xiao Lu, her kid is already in kindergarten. How about next time Xiao Lu helps you find a nice girl? I smiled awkwardly and greeted my roommates, saying, take care, everyone. If you need anything after going out, I will definitely help if I can. Roommates, Brother Chen, have a safe journey. There are plenty of beautiful flowers everywhere, finish this one and go find another. I was feeling a bit down, but their playful words made me unable to help but laugh. With this laugh, I looked up at the blue sky and suddenly felt that life was beautiful. As for my marriage with Wang Xiaoying, it was just like being bitten by a dog. Now that I've had my vaccination, there are still plenty of wonderful times ahead to enjoy. Because, in life, one cannot step into the same river twice. On my way back to Ouching City, I didn't ride my bike anymore. A netizen named Dancing Toad from Baidu Chieba contacted me and drove me to the factory area. My co-workers all gathered around to comfort me, and the lady from the administrative office was especially enthusiastic about introducing me to someone. I politely declined. Right now, I just want to have some peace and quiet. Time always flows. And the world remains peaceful. Internet trends come quickly and go just as fast. 2 months have passed, and my life has returned to how it was before. The only difference is that I now have a divorce certificate, reminding me of the absurd life I once experienced. I no longer work overtime, and my salary is self-sufficient, so I suddenly feel more financially comfortable. One day, I had hot pot with a few co-workers, drank a couple of shots of baijiu, and while walking in the brightly lit street market, I couldn't help but feel a bit lightheaded. Turning the corner, a fragrant breeze hit me, and before I could dodge, I bumped into something warm and soft. Ouch! A cry of pain came from beside my ear. I focused my gaze and my heart almost jumped out of my chest. So tall, so beautiful. The girl who bumped into me was about 170 centimeters tall, and with her high heels, she was only slightly shorter than my 182 centimeters. She seemed to have twisted her ankle and bent down slightly. Her long hair cascading like a waterfall, with a faint orchid fragrance wafting into my nose, indescribably pleasant. Can you help me a bit? She looked up, her eyes shimmering, and her voice was soft and sweet. I felt like a fool as I reached out to support her, mechanically accompanying her to the nearby pharmacy to buy Yunnan Baiyao spray, helping her into the car, and I stood on the street in a daze until the car drove away. This was undoubtedly the most beautiful woman I had ever seen in real life, even more beautiful than the actresses on television. But what did that have to do with me? I chuckled self-deprecatingly. She and I were completely from different worlds. Yet the lingering fragrance on my hand was hard to dissipate. Chapter 8. It turns out she is my department head. Today is my first day working in the marketing department. When I first applied to this company, I was supposed to go to the marketing department. But to earn more money and provide a better life for Wang Xiaoying, I chose to work in the frontline workshop. Now that the schistosomiasis is gone and I don't need to work so hard, I am certainly willing to change my work environment and embrace new challenges. I started my new position in the morning, but there were no work arrangements for the time being. In the afternoon, I was chatting with my colleague Lao Ma when I suddenly saw him open his mouth wide, his eyes fixed on the door. I turned my head and saw Minister, who from the marketing department walking in with a girl. Today, our marketing department welcomes 2 new colleagues. This one beside me is the newly hired marketing department head, Lu Yifan, and the other is Chen Sihan, who has been transferred from the workshop. Let's give them a warm welcome. Applause and whistles erupted in the office. I caught that familiar faint fragrance again. It turned out her name was Lu Yifan. And she was my new colleague. Lu Yifan stood next to Minister Hu, and was half a head taller than him. Beautiful women always carry a halo of goodwill. After she greeted each of us with a handshake, old Ma and the other losers had already become her fans. After work, under the leadership of Minister Hu, we went to the Royal Hotel near the company for a dinner party. During the meal, Lu Yifan drank until her cup was empty, laughing and chatting gracefully, exuding an air of sophistication. I toasted her with a drink and clinked glasses with new colleagues. My alcohol tolerance was not high to begin with, and by the end, I was dizzy and had no idea how I got home. I had a night full of dreams, tumultuous and chaotic, but in the end, I always dreamed of Lu Yifan. The next day at the office, old Ma looked at me with envy and jealousy. Xiao Chen, honestly tell me, how did you meet Supervisor Lu? You got drunk yesterday. And it was Supervisor Lu who personally took you home. What a lucky guy, you have quite the fortune. Oh, she took me home. I have a vague memory of leaning against a warm body all night, and then she wiped my face, took off my shoes, helped me into bed, and finally covered me with a blanket before turning off the light and leaving. I thought that was just part of a dream, but it turned out to be real. Why is she so nice to me? Chapter 9. She gave me a 200,000 yuan Rolex Submariner. Just in time, there was a big contract to negotiate these days, and as expected, Lu Yifan chose me as her assistant. My colleagues started to tease, one claiming to be experienced, another boasting about their eloquence. In the end, Lu Yifan shot them a glare, saying, Chen Sihan can handle 5 by himself, can you? With him on board, my safety index would increase by 20 points. On the way, I expressed my gratitude for her care last night. Lu Yifan smiled slyly and said, You took care of me first, this is just a reciprocation. I thought to myself, if I hadn't bumped into you, your foot wouldn't have twisted, this is still my fault. But since she said that, I was happy to play dumb. Lu Yifan looked delicate, but when it came to work, she was decisive and efficient. To secure this big contract, we worked early and late, and I was exhausted running errands for her. Many times, I missed meal times, and it was me, her assistant, who went to buy her fast food. After a hard month of work, the 40 million yuan contract was finally finalized. Following Lu Yifan, I also benefited. The company awarded me a bonus of 60,000 yuan, which was almost my entire salary from the past year. Although I had feelings for Lu Yifan that I shouldn't have, I knew the gap between us was too great. One was a master's graduate who returned from overseas, driving a Porsche Panamera, and looking stunning. The other was a mediocre college graduate. An ordinary employee with no house and no car. No matter how I looked at it, we were from completely different worlds. I will eliminate the inappropriate thoughts I have about Lu Yifan one by one, meticulously cooperating with her daily work. Perhaps because we got to know each other early on, Lu Yifan always likes to assign me tasks, and I am more than happy to oblige. Maybe this is a common flaw among men. When they see a beautiful woman they admire, even if there will be no outcome, they still want to get a little closer to her. My role as her assistant has already caused complaints from other losers in the marketing department. Indeed, the licking dog mentality is everywhere. Walking with excellent people will make you better yourself. Under Lu Yifan's subtle care, my work gradually got on track, and I closed a few contracts. Although the amounts were not large, totaling just over 2 million, it gave me a voice in the marketing department. I am grateful to Lu Yifan. So I carefully selected a Lancome luxury gift set worth over 3,000 from the mall to give to her. Lu Yifan was particularly happy, and 2 days later, she took out a watch and handed it to me. Thank you for the gift, I really like it. Here, this watch is my gift to you, put it on. When I saw it was a Rolex, far more expensive than the cosmetics I gave her, I was reluctant to accept it. Lu Yifan insisted, pulling me by the sleeve and putting the watch on my left wrist. Between friends, we should reciprocate, there's no need to refuse. Besides, this watch isn't expensive, don't be polite with me. With a watch on your wrist, your temperament will improve. Touching the watch Lu Yifan gave me, I felt cheerful all day, walking as if I was stepping on cotton. Old Ma noticed my unusual behavior. Xiao Chen, did you win the lottery? Look at how happy you are. Then he caught sight of the watch on my wrist and exclaimed as if Columbus had discovered a new continent, wow. Xiao Chen, you really hit the jackpot. A Rolex green submariner, at least worth 200,000. You're wearing a luxury item like that, what a waste. I was stunned on the spot. 200,000. Didn't Lu Yifan say it wasn't worth much? Looking at old Ma, who was getting overly excited, I knew this guy had a big mouth. If I told him this was a gift from Lu Yifan, the whole company would be buzzing with rumors about me and Lu Yifan the next day. I couldn't get her into that kind of trouble. Usually, everyone jokes that Lu Yifan has a crush on me. Just to have fun, everyone knows Lu Yifan comes from a distinguished family, far beyond my reach. It's a knockoff, I bought it on Pinduoduo, just for fun. Old Ma immediately changed his expression. Xiao Chen, you need to be practical in life, and not be too vain. How about this, treat me to a meal after work, and I'll forgive you for deceiving my pure feelings. What is this? I'm laughing at this lively person. It's just a meal. I'll treat. The next day, I found some time to take off my watch and return it to Lu Yifan. Lu Yifan widened her almond-shaped eyes and said, what? Didn't we agree yesterday on mutual courtesy? Are you changing your mind today? Do you still consider me a friend? If you dare to return it to me, I will dare to throw it in front of you. I, Lu Yifan, have never taken back anything I gave away. Looking at her wide beautiful eyes and her fierce, commanding demeanor, I was once again captivated. So beautiful, so cool, so powerful. Oh my, how can there be such a perfect woman in the world? A scholar is willing to die for a friend. In my future work, I became more diligent and dedicated, fully cooperating with Lu Yifan's work, while also continuously honing my skills and improving my performance. By the end of the year, the business volume of Lu Yifan and my partnership was far ahead, leaving the other experts in the marketing department speechless. Chapter 10. Lu Yifan's first kiss for me. At the company annual meeting, I met the big boss, Chairman Lu Haifeng, for the first time. He was completely different from what I had imagined. I thought with such a powerful name, he must be a big, fat man with a rosy face, but I found out that Chairman Lu wore gold-rimmed glasses, was tall and slender, elegant, and had an excellent temperament, somewhat resembling the character of the last emperor in The Last Emperor. With his appearance, how many young girls must he have charmed in his youth? Many female colleagues in the audience were staring at Chairman Lu, their faces flushed, clearly captivated. It makes sense at his age, he can still maintain such grace, and with a successful career and a fortune of billions. If I were a woman, I would probably be moved too. During the subsequent segment to recognize outstanding employees, Lu Yifan and I took the stage to receive our awards one after the other. Chairman Lu kindly shook my hand and took photos with me, which gave me a great sense of accomplishment. But when I saw him holding Lu Yifan's hand, with a warm smile on his face, I felt particularly uncomfortable inside. It seemed that his affectionate smile towards Lu Yifan contained something else. I secretly worried that Lu Yifan was so beautiful. What if she caught the attention of Mr. Lu? What would I do then? I wished she wouldn't go on stage to accept the award. But then again, how could that be possible? She was too outstanding. No matter where she appeared, she would immediately attract attention. Like a firefly in the pitch-black night, so bright, so exceptional. In contrast, I stood beside her, so dull and lackluster. After the annual meeting, Mr. Lu kindly asked Lu Yifan if she wanted to leave together. Lu Yifan politely declined, saying she wanted to take me home first. Mr. Lu told her to drive slowly and be careful on the road. I felt quite uncomfortable hearing this. Does seeing a beautiful woman really require so much fuss? What happened to his previous demeanor? On the way, I asked Lu Yifan what she thought of Mr. Lu. She said he was great, the best among uncles. Hearing this made me feel like I had a lemon stuffed in my heart. It was so sour. After dropping me off at the dormitory, I was about to get out of the car when Lu Yifan said, "Wait a moment." I turned my head, and Lu Yifan's eyes were sparkling. She stood on her tiptoes and gently kissed my forehead. Happy New Year. Those soft lips, though just a fleeting touch, left an elusive fragrance on my forehead that lingered. Waving goodbye, Lu Yifan drove away. On this dark New Year's Eve, my eyes were filled with light. In the distance, fireworks burst forth, blooming one after another in the night sky. Just like my current mood. Chapter 11, Lu Yifan is in love, but the object is not me. After the new year, the marketing department became busy again like a tightly wound spring. My cooperation with Lu Yifan has become increasingly tacit. Often just a glance, or a gesture, is enough to understand each other's meaning. The performance for the first quarter has come out, and Lu Yifan and I have already completed half a year's work targets. Minister, who praised us as a typical example in the meeting, while subtly criticizing the groups with lagging performance. Old Ma and the others were so angry that they cursed, saying I just had good luck and was coasting along with the supervisor. Little do they know the effort I put in behind the scenes. People often only see your glory on stage, but never notice if you are exhausted off stage. 2 days later, Old Ma suddenly leaned in close to my ear and said, "Xiao Chen, have you noticed that the supervisor has been acting differently lately?" I was a bit confused. What do you mean? It seems the supervisor is in a relationship. I felt a bit guilty. It's normal to be in a relationship. The supervisor is so beautiful. How could no one be pursuing her? Yesterday, I saw Yi Xiao from waiting company giving flowers to the supervisor, and then the supervisor got into his car. They were chatting and laughing, really getting along well. I think the supervisor is going to be taken by him. What? My face turned pale. Old Ma, don't talk nonsense. Waiting is a major client of our company. It's normal for the supervisor to discuss business with him. Old Ma had a gossipy look on his face, excitement mixed with a hint of jealousy. Xiao Chen, what do you understand? A rich second generation like Yi Xiao, handsome, willing to spend money, and knows how to make women happy. There's no fortress he can't conquer. No matter how beautiful the supervisor is, she's still a woman, right? Which woman wouldn't like a man like Yi Xiao? Besides, after getting in the car, it seems Yi Xiao told her a joke, and the supervisor laughed while playfully punching him twice. What's that called? Flirting. Old Ma got more and more excited as he spoke, but my heart sank to the bottom, and I could no longer hear what he was saying. I could only see his lips moving, opening and closing. At that moment, I felt so desperate. Even if Wang Xiaoying betrayed me, even if 5 boys surrounded and beat me, I wouldn't feel this desperate. The sky in front of me suddenly turned black, so dark that there wasn't a glimmer of light, not a single crack. At this moment, I realized how important Lu Yifan was to me. I knew I was not worthy of her, always confining myself in my heart, but the more I did that, the more I couldn't forget Lu Yifan. My feelings for her were like a tiny seed breaking through the shell and sprouting, growing larger and larger until it finally became a towering tree, occupying all the space in my heart. But my love hadn't even begun, and it was already dead. Hey, Xiao Chen, what's wrong? Xiao Chen, don't scare me. I came back to my senses in a daze, and Old Ma was shaking my shoulder continuously. I didn't realize that I was already in tears. It's nothing, just felt a bit dizzy, maybe I didn't eat breakfast. Old Ma understood, and although he usually liked to joke with me, he now had a serious expression. Xiao Chen, think positively. The supervisor is not from our world. Come to my house tonight for a drink, let my sister-in-law make you a couple of dishes. I'll tell you, my sister-in-law is really beautiful. At worst, I'll take a little loss as your brother-in-law and introduce her to you. My heart warmed. Although old Ma usually wasn't serious, he was reliable at critical moments. Even though old Ma had let me in on a secret, without seeing it with my own eyes, I still held on to a glimmer of hope in my heart, like a gambler who wouldn't spend the last coin in his pocket, always feeling there was a chance to turn things around. On the evening of the next day, when I saw Yi Xiao arrive at the company, Lu Yifan warmly greeted him, and the two of them chatted and laughed as they got into the car and left. I completely broke down. I locked myself in the bathroom and pounded the hard wall fiercely. The slight pain in my fist was nothing compared to the knife-like pain in my heart. I know I shouldn't have any thoughts about Lu Yifan, I know I shouldn't fall in love with her, but does loving someone need a reason? Chapter 12. The Matchmaker introduced by Sister Lu. Since I found out that Lu Yifan is dating Yi Xiao, my heart has completely died. Seeing that Lu Yifan no longer had a smile, although she cooperated with her work, that tacit understanding was nowhere to be found, and she often became forgetful while working. Lu Yifan asked me several times if I had anything on my mind, but I remained tight-lipped. My bad mood seemed to have infected Lu Yifan, as well. The originally outgoing and cheerful her became gloomy, often staring at me without moving. Colder than the Siberian cold wave is the Siberian cold wave 1. The entire marketing department office was frozen by this cold wave. The originally good-natured Lu Yifan had lost her temper more times than in the past year, and many colleagues had faced her scolding. Although Lu Yifan had never targeted me, I knew I was the real culprit. One day at work, the security office suddenly called me, sounding very serious, saying that there was a police officer looking for me. With confusion, I walked to the security office, where a female police officer stood up, smiling at me. Sister Lu. What brings you here? What, not welcome? Welcome, welcome. Come on, Sister Lu, I'll treat you to a meal right now. I have something very important to discuss with you this time. How about treating me to a cup of coffee? At Starbucks, I ordered a latte for myself and a cappuccino for Sister Lu. Looking at Sister Lu across the table, smiling gently, although not as stunning as Lu Yifan, she resembled a cluster of purple lavender, beautiful and healing. Perhaps this is the kind of virtuous wife that men long for. Xiao Chen, how has this year been? Have you met any girl you like? I shook my head. What does it matter if I like someone? The torment of unrequited love is the most painful. Do you want Sister Lu to introduce someone to you? Old Zhong has been thinking about this for you. Thinking of the straightforward and rough old Zhong, I couldn't help but chuckle. Thank you, Sister Lu, for coming all this way to see me, and thank you, Brother Zhong, for always thinking of me. If I say I'm not willing, will Brother Zhong come over and hit me? Sister Lu laughed as well, her eyes squinting into crescent moons. Unless you refuse the toast and drink the penalty wine. She opened her phone, selected a photo from the album, and showed it to me. What do you think of this girl? I guarantee you'll like her. I stared in disbelief, as if struck by lightning. Isn't that Lu Yifan? Lu Jie looked at me with interest. What, do you know her? I nodded. This face had long been etched in my heart. Do you like her? In front of Lu Jie. I didn't want to hide it, so I nodded again. If you like her, why don't you pursue her? She already has a boyfriend, and I have no house, no car, no savings. What right do I have to pursue her? Lu Jie was also taken aback. She looked even more surprised than I was. What? You say Xiao Fan has a boyfriend? How come I didn't know? It was then that I realized. Lu Jie, what is your relationship with Lu Yifan? You seem to know her so well. Lu Jie shot me a glance. She calls me sister. What do you think our relationship is? Are you sisters? Xiao Fan is my second uncle's daughter. Although we are not biological sisters, our bond is even closer than that of real sisters. Didn't your situation make the news? When I talked to Xiao Fan about it, she praised you highly, saying you are loyal, family-oriented, and manly, and that she wants to marry a man like you. I said since you have an eye for each other, and Xiao Chen is single right now, why not let me set you up? Who knew this girl actually came over? I recalled our chance encounter on the street, and suddenly understood. However, since Lu Yifan came for me, why was she dating another man? This was something I witnessed with my own eyes. If it weren't for Lao Ma telling me, I might still be in the dark. So I told Sister Lu exactly what Lao Ma had said to me and what I had seen with my own eyes. Sister Lu initially had a serious expression, but as she listened, something seemed off, and she tried hard not to laugh while maintaining her composure. When I finished speaking, she pointed at me and said, "You are really more of a hindrance than a help, and you are also a confused fool, believing whatever others say. Since you have doubts, why not ask Xiaofan directly and clarify things? Keeping it bottled up makes you uncomfortable, and Xiaofan is suffering along with you." In the past few days of video calls, I noticed Xiaofan was in a bad mood and had lost weight. I asked her and found out you are currently in a cold war with her, which made me rush over here early this morning. But the knot in my heart remained untied. She is dating young Master Yi, how can I ask her? Sister Lu angrily tapped my head and said, "What young Master Yi?" "That's her cousin." "What?" I looked at Sister Lu in confusion, but a wave of joy surged within me. I really don't understand why a grown man like you would be so jealous. Waiting is Xiaofan's uncle's company, and her cousin Yizuan is currently in charge. Because of this relationship, they often collaborate with your company. Your colleague jumped to conclusions, and you are also a confused fool. If I hadn't come over, who knows when this misunderstanding between you and Xiaofan would have been resolved. Xiaofan has always been the jewel of our family, never having suffered a bit of grievance. Luckily, this matter hasn't reached my second uncle's ears, otherwise, he would have killed you. I smiled awkwardly, unable to respond. Just thinking about how Lu Yifan had been feeling down lately and had lost so much weight made my heart ache even more. I resolved to go back and apologize to her. I would do anything as long as it made her happy. Seeing that I had already awakened, Sister Lu looked at me seriously and said, "Xiao Chen, I know you are a good man. If Xiao Fan ends up with you, she will definitely be happy. But when it comes to matters of the heart, you are too indecisive. You really don't act like a man. If you like someone, go after them. How will you know if you can't catch up if you don't pursue? Actions speak louder than words. Show the courage to charge forward for love. Xiao Fan is the girl worth chasing for 3 days and nights." At this moment, my blood was ignited once again. Back then, I could throw caution to the wind for Wang Xiaoying, and now I should do the same for Lu Yifan. "Thank you, Sister Lu, I know what to do now." I felt a surge of gratitude towards this understanding young woman in front of me. Chapter 13, The Warrior Charging for Love has returned. After bidding farewell to Sister Lu and returning to the company, the dark emotions of these days were burned away by my fire. Now, I am full of spirit and vigor, and nothing can stop me from charging for love. "Xiao Chen, you seem a bit off today, like you've become a different person." As soon as I entered the office, Old Ma started voicing his opinions again. This gossiping man, I really want to give him a good beating. It's because of his big mouth that such a huge misunderstanding arose between me and Lu Yifan. Just thinking about the suffering she has endured these days makes my heart ache. Walking to Lu Yifan's supervisor's office, I didn't knock on the door. I just walked in and closed the door, cutting off Old Ma's prying gaze. Lu Yifan was already in a bad mood. When she saw someone enter without knocking, she was furious and was about to scold, but when she saw it was me, she was momentarily stunned. "Xiao Fan, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. And I've made you suffer." I opened the gift box in my hand and presented her with a bouquet of champagne roses. Lu Yifan stared at me, not reaching out or saying a word. I put everything on the line. "Xiao Fan, I love you. From the first moment I saw you, I fell in love with you. Everyone has a date in their life that is meant to be, and it is about love. Some dates are forgotten, some are abandoned halfway, and some ultimately come to an end. In the end, there are not many who come to this date, and among them, there may be faint wrinkles and grey hair. Thank you, life, thank you, heaven, for allowing me to meet the vibrant you at the most beautiful time of my youth. The longer I spend time with you this year, the more I love you. I don't know how many times I've wanted to say this to you, but I was too self-conscious, feeling that I am not worthy of you. Now, if I don't say it, I fear I may never have the chance again. Lu Yifan trembled as she took the rose. Tears streaming down her face, drop by drop falling onto the petals. I gathered my courage and gently kissed her forehead. I returned the kiss from New Year's Eve to her, along with all the longing and blessings from that night. I pressed my face closely against hers and said word by word, Xiao Fan, I love you, but I dare not say it. I fear that if I say it, I will die immediately. I am not afraid of death, I am afraid that if I die, no one will love you like I do. Lu Yifan could no longer hold back. She leaned on my shoulder and cried loudly, hitting my back as she sobbed. Chen Sihan, you bastard. I let her hit my back. Holding her felt like holding the entire world. When Lu Yifan and I walked out of the office side by side, everyone was stunned, and old Ma couldn't even speak clearly. Xiao Chen, you and the supervisor, you. Lu Yifan held the rose proudly, tilting her head. I am dating Chen Sihan, he is now my boyfriend. Looking at Lu Yifan, endless love shone in my eyes. How could one not like such a bold and spirited girl? Chapter 14 Future Father-in-law. Since I confirmed my relationship with Lu Yifan, I have completely let myself go. Movie theaters, coffee shops, amusement parks, pedestrian streets, wherever Lu Yifan wants to go, I am her loyal follower, carrying her bags and taking care of her meticulously. Lu Yifan is also happy to enjoy my pampering. In front of me, she is no longer that beautiful and cool woman, but a soft and adorable girl. In fact, no woman wants to be strong, but before meeting her own knight in shining armor, she must wear a thick mask and build high walls around herself. With Lu Yifan's company, I got my driver's license in just 1 month. With me as her full-time driver, she has become too lazy to drive, and the Panamera has almost become my exclusive vehicle. This has made the guys in my circle envious. That day, after watching Avatar, The Way of Water at the 3D cinema, it was already dusk. I skillfully started the Panamera, preparing to take her back to her apartment. Lu Yifan rested her head on my shoulder and said, Sihan, come to my house tonight. My dad wants to meet you. I trembled and almost crashed into a tree. Xiao Fan, isn't this too fast? I'm not mentally prepared at all. Lu Yifan looked at me provocatively and said, What, are you scared? My dad won't eat you. Besides, you will have to pass this test sooner or later. All the way, I followed Lu Yifan's directions, driving mechanically, but my mind was already in a mess. They say daughters-in-law are afraid to meet their mothers-in-law, and sons-in-law are afraid to meet their fathers-in-law. When it comes to myself, I realize that this feeling cannot be described as fear, it is a kind of terror. Previously, Sister Lu mentioned the family. And being able to refer to it as a family has already drawn a line with ordinary households. What I am about to face might be the patriarch of a family. It's like playing a game. Although the final boss can drop rare items, 9 out of 10 players are likely to die. Reluctantly, the car still arrived at the destination. I hesitated and didn't want to get out, but Lu Yifan pulled me down and linked his arm with mine. Looking around, the villa in front of me is about 700 or 800 square meters, in European style, with red tiles and green trees, still bright as day in the pitch-black night. In the distance, a fresh sea breeze blows, accompanied by the murmuring sound of the waves. As I approached the front door, the electronic sensor automatically recognized my face and slid open silently. Miss, you're back. The master wants you to go directly to his study. A dark-skinned Filipino maid respectfully greeted us. I have become completely numb. Although I have tried to elevate Lu Yifan's family background as much as possible, it seems I still underestimated it. Lu Yifan linked his arm with mine as we walked through the garden corridor, past the extremely luxurious living room, and arrived at an elegant study. She boldly pushed open the door and gave me a little shove forward. Dad, I brought him back. Please speak nicely and don't scare him. After saying that, she giggled. The man in the study turned around and smiled at me. Xiao Chen, we meet again. Chapter 15, The child takes my daughter's surname, and I give you a company worth 2 billion. He wore a pair of gold-rimmed, frameless glasses on his nose, tall and elegant in stature. Although he had a smile on his face, there was an invisible aura about him that exuded the authority of someone in a higher position. Mr. Liu. I could hardly believe it. I recalled how Mr. Liu looked at Lu Yifan with a kind and gentle smile at the company annual meeting, yet I misinterpreted it as some sort of ulterior motive towards her. My advice to her to drive slowly and be safe was also misinterpreted as having ill intentions. A jealous man is truly unreasonable. That was clearly a father's indulgence towards his daughter. How could I have thought otherwise? Mr. Liu is more open-minded than I imagined, and it's possible that Lu Yifan has put pressure on him. Xiao Chen, I know your story. You are a good man. So when Xiao Fan went to see you, I tacitly approved. With my wealth, I don't need to sacrifice my daughter's happiness for a marriage alliance. To facilitate Xiao Fan, I bought your company so that you would have a chance to develop your feelings. Your performance during this time has satisfied me. You are diligent, hardworking, and have ambition. And you treat Xiao Fan well. The only thing I'm not satisfied with is your lack of confidence. When you meet a girl you like, why don't you pursue her? Should she come after you instead? Whether you can catch up is one thing, but if you don't even dare to pursue her, what kind of man are you? In life, if you don't move forward, you move backward. If you take a step back, others will take 2 steps forward. Many young people don't understand this principle. While they are retreating, they push the woman they love into someone else's arms. I have only one daughter, and she is more precious than my life. Now I entrust her to you, with only one condition: treat my daughter well and love her wholeheartedly. Can you do that? I nodded solemnly. Mr. Liu, I promise to do so. For Xiao Fan, I would give up my life. Mr. Liu pretended to be angry. I've entrusted my daughter to you. Why are you still calling me Mr. Liu? This is too formal. Uncle Liu. All right. Ha ha ha. But Xiao Chen, Uncle Liu has a condition that I hope you can agree to. Uncle Liu, please go ahead. As you know, I only have one daughter, Xiao Fan, and all my assets will be inherited by her. Therefore, I hope that your first child will take the surname Liu, and as compensation, I will transfer this company to your name, making you the chairman of the Xingtuo Group. Although I know that Chairman Liu is very wealthy, casually giving away a company worth 2 billion is simply outrageous. But I still refused. I'm sorry, Uncle Liu. I agree that the child can take the surname Liu, but I cannot accept the company. No matter how wealthy Xiaofan is, that is hers. I will build my own career. Chairman Liu laughed heartily, patting my shoulder. Good boy, not bad. I appreciate your character. I can lend you the startup capital, and I'll calculate the interest as well. You can't refuse that, can you? If at first Chairman Liu liked me because of Lu Yifan, the admiration in his eyes at this moment is entirely due to my performance. Now, I have truly caught the attention of my future father-in-law. I nodded. Thank you, Uncle Liu. I will work hard. After meeting the parents, Mr. Liu signed an agreement with me, lending me 50 million as startup capital, with an annual interest rate of 12. I know this is just a formality. It doesn't matter if I can't pay it back. But with my appetite being so good, how could I rely on someone else? After discussing with Lu Yifan, we registered a biotechnology company that mainly focuses on nucleic acid testing. Lu Yifan and I each hold 50 of the shares. All the testing businesses from Xingtuo Company, Waiting Company, and other companies under Director Liu have been taken over by Lu Yifan, who claims that the good water should not flow to outsiders. I also recruited several key business personnel, including Old Ma. Although Old Ma is quite gossipy, his business capabilities are still very solid. Lei Buzi has a famous saying, when standing at the wind outlet, even pigs can fly if they grow a pair of little wings, they can fly even higher. Lu Yifan truly lives up to his background from a capital family, with precise vision and abundant resources. He has successfully connected all levels of the market, and in just 6 months, he has increased the company's market value to several billion. By the end of the year, the IPO submitted in Hong Kong passed directly. After the company went public, the stock price hit the limit on the same day. Under Lu Yifan's control, we signed a cooperation agreement with Xingtuo Company today, and announced a cooperation intention with Waiting Company tomorrow, occasionally releasing several positive news, causing the company's stock price to rise continuously. Every day I wake up. My personal assets are growing at a terrifying speed in the 7 figures. Sleeping until I wake up naturally and counting money until my hands cramp is my true portrayal now. Teacher Ma also has a famous saying, "Money is the easiest thing to obtain in the world. I have no interest in money." I used to think Teacher Ma was bragging, but when I truly entered this class, I realized he was speaking the truth. When your pockets are empty, every penny you earn drips with hard-earned sweat. When you make money with capital, money really just becomes a number to you, that is passive income. Chapter 16. I have a story to tell you. In September, Lu Yifan and I held a grand wedding in the Maldives. As a breathtaking place that will disappear from the earth in 50 years, Longtail Beach is as white as snow, with beautiful coral reefs faintly visible in the shallow sea, the nearby water reflecting a shallow turquoise, while the deep sea gradually turns into a deep blue. With 6-star luxury islands, underwater restaurants, and sea bridges, every step in the Maldives is a scenic view. Director Lu directly booked the entire Paradise Island. If it weren't for the prohibition on buying and selling, he would have wanted to buy an island to gift to his beloved daughter. Attending the wedding banquet were Director Lu's business friends, executives from multinational companies, and local government officials. Sister Lu, Old Zhong, Yizuan, Old Ma, and others all came to attend our wedding. During the banquet, we casually enjoyed top-notch Petrus, Ozo, and Romaniconti, along with Alba white truffles, French foie gras, Alexandra pommard steak, bluefin tuna, and Palamos red shrimp. Old Ma had a steak in his left hand and a large shrimp in his right, eating with grease all over his mouth. Yizuan pulled me to drink, and as a true Shandong man, I naturally didn't back down, finishing every cup. Old Zhong cheered loudly, also downing one cup after another. This guy already loves drinking, and seeing so many top-notch wines made his eyes turn green. He seized the opportunity to drink without restraint. Yizuan's face was flushed from the alcohol, but his eyes were particularly bright. Xiao Chen, I only have this one sister, Fan Fan. She is the little princess of our family. No matter how you do in the future, you must not let her suffer even a little bit. Otherwise, don't blame me for being unmerciful as the older brother. Wang Xiaoying and those boys can hardly move outside now. Offending you is equivalent to offending Fan Fan. So, you understand, I can do anything for Fan Fan. I knew he was warning me, and a chill ran down my spine, turning some of the alcohol's warmth into cold sweat that trickled down my back. To Yizuan, Wang Xiaoying and the others were just insignificant little bugs that could be dealt with at will. In fact, wasn't I the same? I have to admit that my brother-in-law has an impressive appearance. If he weren't Lu Yifan's cousin, I really wouldn't be able to compete with him. I felt like I was swearing an oath under the party flag. Brother, rest assured, I won't let Fan Fan suffer even if I have to endure myself. Yizuan hugged me and said, "Good brother, come on, let's keep drinking." He tilted his head back and finished the red wine in his glass, then lay down on the table and started snoring. Thinking about what he just told me, I couldn't tell if he was really drunk or pretending. However, Lu Yifan's support team is just too powerful, and I really can't afford to offend them. In July of the following year, outside the delivery room of the Canossa Hospital in Hong Kong, Mr. Lu and I sighed heavily, unable to sit still. Two bosses of listed companies, chatting and laughing in the face of the ever-changing business world. Yet they broke down in front of their beloved daughter and wife. I stared at the Patek Philippe reference 5002p on my wrist, the second hand ticking away, each second feeling so long. This watch was given to me by Lu Yifan, after we got married the previous Rolex Submariner was thrown away by her. In her words, my man should wear the best watch. Finally, the delivery room door slowly opened, and a pretty little nurse came out holding a crying baby. Congratulations to both of you, mother and baby are safe, it's a 7.2-pound boy. Mr. Liu was overjoyed, carefully taking the baby in his hands, as if he were holding the most precious gift in the world. 2 years later, my second child with Liu Yifan was born, a lovely little princess. Mr. Liu was somewhat nervous, worried that I might not be willing to fulfill my previous promise. After all, I am now also a new business tycoon worth billions. Actually, for me, the surname of the child doesn't matter. What matters is that with Liu Yifan by my side, this world has meaning. My phone ringtone is still Angela Zhong's Live for Love, but it has changed from the prelude to the finale. The sad yesterday has died, and the beautiful tomorrow has arrived. The same song, yet it sings of my different life. I swear I will no longer be the shadow of regret, reinterpreting every moment. Life is counting down, not enough for us to be extravagant. If you want to love, don't hide it, there is no exit for escape, courage is our only freedom. Having tasted bitterness, stubbornness is mine. At the moment of dawn, the future is mine. Years later, little Fan has grown into an incredibly cute little fairy, and her mother still looks so young and beautiful, as if time has cast a spell. We till the land in our village, plant flowers, make scarecrows, repair fences, paint stones, have afternoon tea, or herd a flock of sheep, turning each day into a fairy tale. One evening, the setting sun and the solitary wild goose flew together, while the sunset and red leaves danced in the air. Liu Yifan leaned on my shoulder and said, "Si Han, I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who, at the moment of her birth, lost her mother due to complications during childbirth. Her father cherished her like a treasure, providing her with the best food, clothing, and toys from a young age. All her elders and siblings treated her like a little princess, but reality is not a fairy tale. Little princesses eventually grow up. As she grew, she encountered various suitors, but these pursuers had different intentions. Some were attracted to her beauty, some coveted her family background, and others wanted both wealth and beauty. However, her father was so formidable that he would never allow these guys to succeed. Anyone with ill intentions towards her was dealt with harshly. As the girl grew older, her father began to worry about her lifelong happiness. He had only one condition: as long as his daughter liked someone and they passed his test, he would agree, regardless of the suitor's family background. One day, the girl heard a piece of news from her sister about a warrior who charged forward for love. The girl thought that perhaps such a man was worthy of her lifelong commitment. So, she created an opportunity to get to know that man, and during their interactions, she gradually fell in love with him. However, that man was as dull as a log and never dared to confess his feelings. Therefore, the girl had her cousin pretend to be a suitor to stimulate him, but the fool took it seriously, torturing himself without daring to ask her directly. Later, the girl's sister found out and helped them resolve this misunderstanding. From then on, that man transformed back into a warrior for love. Through their joint efforts, they built a happy family and had 2 lovely children. In the future, they would continue to be happy together until their hair turned grey, sitting side by side on a bench watching the sunset. As she spoke, her voice faded away. I looked down and saw my older sister smiling at the corner of her lips, already peacefully asleep.